So about a year ago, I purchased a Frontrow off-road air system, which is one of the models of air hose that connect all four tires at one time to your compressor. My thought was this would simplify and quicken the process of reinflating tires after being off-road. So I like the kit. It has been great. My only drawback with it is since it is such a large hose, when you try and get this thing out of its case, it generally turns into a rat's nest because it's 36 feet of air hose all in one line. So it gets tangled very easily, and it's hard to deal with, especially off road and you're in the dirt or the mud or something. So I was looking at their webpage recently and noticed that the new compressor, the new hoses are different. They've got quick disconnects here at the top where they plug into the air gauge. So I reached out to them. I was curious if there was a way I could retro fit that onto my existing system. They got back right with me immediately and gave me links on Amazon where to purchase the kit I needed to do that. So the quick disconnects would replace the existing system, and then I would be able to do that. So I was a little concerned about, if it was going to leak after I was done, or, just not work for some reason. I'm kind of famous for that. But anyway, the kit arrived and seemed pretty straightforward. So I decided to take this thing into the living room and see if I could make it work. The tools that I needed to do this were pretty straightforward. I had a razor knife to cut the Teflon tape. I had a wire brush to get the old tape off the screw threads. I had the kit from Amazon. There was a 14 millimeter wrench, a 15 millimeter wrench, and finally a 3/4 inch wrench for the bigger section of that. So pretty easy on the tool front. In addition to the link to Amazon for the parts that I needed, Frontrow was also nice enough to send me very detailed directions on specifically how to do this. It wasn't a very difficult task to do, but they literally went step by step with the tools I needed and everything, which was really nice to be able to just kind of double check before you got involved too deeply into it. The kit from Amazon came with more parts than you needed. It had several duplicates, and they were both male and female connectors, so you had to make sure you were picking the right ones before you got involved with it. But the kit was all there. The first step of this process was to remove the old hoses, and that's where that 14 millimeter wrench came in. They were on there pretty tight. I don't know if they used a thread lock or something, but it took a little bit of torque to get them loose, which of course made me nervous. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? But they came loose, and then once they were loose, they threaded off just fine, so it wasn't hard at all. I repeated the process for the other side, also torqued on pretty good, but eventually came right off with no issues. So after I cleaned off the old thread tape and the adhesive off the old threads, I took the female piece of the quick disconnect, threw Teflon tape on those threads, and then screwed two of those onto the air gauge itself. So the female connector goes on the gauge itself. Then I also did the same process with the male. I put thread tape on the threads and screwed those into the two separate hoses. Then I torqued it all down, and it was ready to go out and give it a test. So I went out to the Jeep and got out my hose extension that I keep under the driver's side passenger seat. It's right next to the compressor switches, so all my air stuff is in one place. Got it all set up, plugged in, and brought the two separate hoses around to see how they would set up. From there, I connected the air gauge into that extension, which was again very simple because there were no hoses associated with it yet. And then went back and got the two separate hoses, which I could tell immediately were already much easier to deal with, having two smaller hoses as opposed to one larger hose. Very easy to handle, very easy to move, no tangles, no nothing. And the quick disconnects worked exactly like they were supposed to. They snapped right into place. So that was really good news. One of the things I really like about the Frontrow air system is how easily the connectors fit onto the tire stems. You just place them over the stem and there's a sleeve on it that locks it into place, and it doesn't leak and doesn't move. So it's very simple, very fast, and very easy to do. My Jeep has the tire fill assist system. So from the dashboard I can activate that, and then I can predetermine the PSI that I want the tires to be at. So I was running them at 35 PSI, so for the test I just upped it to 37 PSI just to see how it worked and to make sure nothing leaked in the process. So with the engine running, I went on and cut on the compressor after I had everything hooked up, and started looking for leaks and seeing how the pressure worked on everything. I didn't hear any air coming from the new connectors. It looked like they were sealed pretty good. So that seemed to be working pretty well. All four tires went up to 37 PSI pretty much at the same time. That also registered on the gauge itself with the tire system, as well as on my dashboard. And when you hit your requested PSI, the horn will beep and let you know your tires are full. So that's kind of a convenient thing too. So the system worked. I was very pleased with it. Came apart really easily, and then getting it all back into the bag and storing it was much easier than it was trying to curl up one long hose in the dirt. So I'm pretty happy with the system. It has worked out at least as well as I was hoping it would, if not better. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have the Frontrow system, one of the earlier ones, I highly recommend making this upgrade. It really is a nice feature. And if you are new to Frontrow, well, if you order a kit, it comes set up like this anyway. And speaking of Frontrow, I want to give them a big shout out for the detailed instructions, the link to a kit to make it easy as possible. It was really very helpful. I'm very excited to get out on a trail and actually use this out in the dirt and make sure it works as well as it did on this demo in my driveway. So I feel like it will. I feel like it's a good system. I'm really pleased with it, and I appreciate you watching this video.